Welcome to our Enrollment Management and Student Success WIG meeting for December 17th, 2021. This is just very exciting. One of the things we want to do today is we want to provide a sneak peek as to some of the results by Dr. Jim Black and his team of SEM Works and how those results are being addressed by the CRM. So we're going to give you a little bit of sneak peek of what's to come with the CRM and where we're going. We've put a lot of work into this, and actually it is taken a lot of resources from what we do during a normal enrollment period. And so great things are to come. So let's get started. So SEM Works, Jim Black and his team, Dr. Black and his team have identified several areas, 4 of which will be addressed by the CRM or at least partially addressed by the CRM, of opportunities that we can, where we can make a difference in the student experience here at Monroe County Community College. One, a sense of belonging. Right now, the application process is, how can I say it? It doesn't bring about a sense of personalization. We're not making that personal connection with the student. It's a very solitary process where a student goes online. They may fill out some things about an inquiry. They get some emails back. But it's not very personalized, and it doesn't make the student feel like they're being recruited. That was a word that we really heard from Dr. Black that you'll hear in his presentation in January. So we want to be proactive with the personalization process. We want to make the student feel like they are being responded to immediately. Believe it or not, sometimes when students put in inquiries, it takes about a week to get back, and the response is just a simple form letter that is not very personalized, and actually in the past would refer them right back to the same inquiry process if a student had further questions. So this will be remedied by this system and automated, and it will seem to the student like they're getting a live response right away to their inquiry, where they are getting the information that they need right at the time where they asked for it. So the time at which they're most interested. In fact, there's a lot of research that says after about 7 seconds from an inquiry, the interest level starts waning on the part of the student. So you really want to be proactive and get that information right in the hands of the student right away. So that leads right to the third part, right? Rapid response. We want to give a student a rapid response. And this is particularly true with the application process. Right now, believe it or not, when a student applies to the college, we then download that application and we retype it back into Colleague. And a student might not actually hear a response about their application for days, weeks, or even a month, depending on the time of year. And so we were trying to make sure that students receive a response right away from their inquiries into the college and their applications into the college. And last, we want to leverage technology and redesign our processes so that the student receives a friendly welcome to the college, and they truly begin to feel like they are a part, again, back to belonging, right? A part of this college, and it is a place that wants them and where they want to be. All right, so let's get a view of what this process will look like. And so, Jonathan, take it away.
Good morning, everyone. This is Jonathan Brown of the admissions office, and here I'm going to go over what the new application looks like in TargetX. So today we have our sign up, and you have to have a sign up login before you can start the application. So here our applicant is going to be a Mr. Charlie Brown, which that name should sound familiar to a lot of people watching the Peanuts. So here on this screen, we see our image at the top. So we're looking towards the life science building. In the top left corner, it has the community college's name. And here in the middle of the screen, we can see that there's no application started. So here I would click Start New Application to start an application. On the right, you'll see My Events tool, and it says there's nothing registered right now. So this is when if we had certain events like a campus tour or if there was any sort of, on-campus info session, other events like that, perhaps like the electric car show, anything like that, we could populate that so students would be able to log in, register, and confirm attendance that way. So we're going to go ahead and click Start New Application. All right, so on this tab, before you start filling out the information, here TargetX defines everything by key questions. So the key questions helps you filter out your application types, whether there's an associated fee to them or if it's targeting a different group. So say our nursing app students. So here, on my first question, what type of student are you? We see we have dual enrollment, first time in college, guests, international during transfer, and these are easy to configure. But today, Charlie Brown's going to be first time at the community college. Are you applying to a health science program? So in this case, you see a yes, no. If I hit yes, it auto-populates our nursing programs and our 3 nursing programs in RT. So I could continue to say he wants to be a bridge applicant for the winter 2022 session. If not, I can go back and change no, and this is going to default to our general application. So everyone who wants to go from an associate's degree to a certificate or our guest applications, they're going to see roughly the same application. So here I hit winter 2022 and start at the application. All right, so here we see this is the first part of the application. So we see there's a little sign up function, so in case I have to leave early or anything. In the top right corner, you'll see this little circle, dot equals required. So here, before we even start filling the application, we see first and last name are filled in, and these are required. So at minimum for applications, we're going to need a first, last name, and an email, because that's how TargetX and Salesforce, which runs TargetX, that's how they define their users and students' applications. So anyone who's in the system is going to have an email and first and last name. In the top left corner, we see this little sandwich menu. This tells us what's called the application forms or the application cards. So we see we have identification information, contact information, additional information. So here we can go ahead and jump down to different cards depending on how well we filled them out. So here we see a green circle in that same little circle menu. Means that card is technically filled out or complete. A half yellow circle is an incomplete field. So this means that there's a required question that was missed and needs to go back and be filled out. So the last thing before we actually start filling out for Charlie Brown is that we see in the sandwich menu there's an update application type. So this might be something where, oh no, I accidentally filled in for the general application, but I'm a transfer student who wants to apply for the RN program. I could go back and hit update application type and it will take me back to that RN application. Alright, so as we start filling out, we're going to have Charlie S. Brown. I don't know his middle name, so it's going to be S. Brown. There's a suffix, so we're not going to fill out his birthday. We're going to say is May the 4th of, I don't know when the peanuts were founded, so we're going to go with 1970. I know that's wrong, but May the 4th, 1970. That's his birthday year. So here we see note. So these are little help texts to help students along. So we see chosen name should be not considered a private name. So we can see that these are optional, so I can just skip these for Charlie Brown, unless I wanted to put Charles or something like that. Social Security number, this is obviously important for students who are going to be applying for financial aid, so we're looking for the FAFSA, any other student identification that way. Are you a veteran? I do not believe Charlie Brown is a veteran, so I'm going to leave that option off. And here we can see this just fills out nice and seamlessly. So we see there's little drop-down menus, there's little radio buttons, there's a little multi-check box to say if he's all of these different races and ethnicities. Admit status again, so we know he's going to be a first time in college because he's the first time to the college. Resident, he's going to be in Monroe County for today's purposes. All right. And so here, now that we see that we filled out all of the required questions in this identification information card, we see we have our green circle, so we know that we can go ahead and continue. If we were unsure about something and we had to come back later, we could also hit save and continue, and it'll save that information so far. So here, for the country, we have the address widget. So this would allow me to a address straight ahead. So he lives on 1234 Front Street, and the city is going to be Monroe in Michigan. 48161. Alright, so here again we have cell phone information. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 0. So in this case, everything just fills out straight ahead. No issues so far. As we continue, again we see another green dot. And if I were to go ahead, hit save and continue, and review my application, we see that it's loading. And then what we have here is that it says it's 71% complete. So I will not be able to submit this application in its current state. I would have to go back and fill out some of these required fields still. Alright, so for a emergency contact, I'm going to put Snoopy Brown. He is other, as Snoopy is not his mother, father, or spouse. And the best number to reach Snoopy is going to be the same phone number backwards. Okay, and here we could put a secondary option, so we could put minus, for example, but we're okay with Snoopy being his emergency contact. Education goal, we're going to say that Charlie Brown is looking for an associate degree in, let's say, game design development, and that the way that this is set up, say I was looking for a certificate, we see that this is populating based on the certificate program. So here I can see there's this graphic design, but there's no game design. And then if we are a non-degree student, that just defaults to undecided. And if you're undecided, that also defaults to undecided. But here we're going to stick with our original example where Charlie Brown is looking for an associate degree in game design development. Does he intend to apply for financial aid? Let's say he is. Here, this additional information required, we see that there is, asking about employment. So we can say he works, 21 to 30 hours in a different job. And we can see, is he a first generation student? If we hit no, this allows us to continue. If we hit yes, we can see there's a conditional visibility to see, okay, maybe his parents went to high school only in this case. It's high school information. Will you have graduated prior to enrolling at MCCC? Here, if I were to hit no, it'll auto-populate asking him if you were awarded a GED. But if I were to hit yes, it's going to ask for your school. And we can also ask about the honors program. We're going to say that Charlie Brown was an astute student and he would like to be interested in the honors program. Here, if I want to select a school, I would type in the school name. So if I'm looking for Monroe High School, he went to Monroe High School in this case. And if we were saying he was born in 1970, we will say he graduated on May 30th of 1988. And so again, this fills ahead straight across. And here, if we have any additional documents, so if he had a transcript, if he had an LPN license for the nursing app, this is sort of a catch-all field to collect any of that additional information that would be helpful to us or that an applicant think would be helpful. So here, as I don't have any transcripts or other information, I'm going to select no. And here, even before I hit save and continue or review application, we have our green dots right here. So now I can save and review. And as we saw earlier, that 71% is now at a 99%. So here I can scroll through and see, oh, maybe if I needed to change Snoopy, I could still come back to here. But in this case, since we have all of our green dots, I can go ahead and be ready to submit. The very last step before this actually submits the application is that we have this little text field to see I verify all is correct and true. So I can click here. This is just a final check so that applicants understand that you have everything correct, that hopefully there's no other issues. So now I can go ahead and submit the application. It's just taking a second. And see here, thank you for submitting the application. And if I return home, in this case, we see we come back here. So here, students, instead of having to worry about a confirmation email that hasn't sent or worrying about waiting for the physical letter, as soon as you submit the general application, we see that your decision is ready. This won't be the case for the nursing applications, as there are some additional criteria and there it goes through a different process. But here, once I submit my application, I can hit view decision and we see today's date, Charlie Brown, Front Street, Monroe MI. Congratulations, you are now a Husky. And we see here, this has the merge field, so it says, please offer your admission for the Game Design Development Program for the winter 2022 semester. And so again, so this is just a little quick snippet so the students understand, like, okay, I'm already admitted. I can see right here, these are the steps I need to fill out to continue my journey through college, through MCCC. So whether that means filling out my FAFSA, sending in transcripts, coming in for test scores, AccuPlacer, for example. This helps students see more immediately, okay, this is what I need to do without having to wait on hearing back for the next steps. Here at the very bottom, we're still looking for the, to fill the sincerely from the, new admissions director. So I'm happy to give a shout out to soon-to-be Dr. Perry, and her name will be filled in here once that's completed. So again, congratulations for Dr. Perry coming aboard. We're all happy to be working with her. So here we also see at the top left corner, if I can go ahead and print this off for my own records. So, students want to go ahead and, show it to their parents or use it for scholarships, anything like that. They already have this instead of, like I said, having to wait for the physical letter to come in or anything of that nature. Okay, so here, I always said we come back to here. There's no checklist items. So again, so this would matter more for the nursing programs having to require a TEAS test or any other information. We still see that the My Events part is not populated, but once we do start plugging in those events for campus tours or other information, that will be there. And then here we can still see if I was unsure about my application, I can go back and review it so I can see, oh, maybe I did forget to change something. So now I know, okay, I can contact admissions and help figure out what needs to be changed. All right, so this has been the journey through the new application so far, but this is even talking about the cooler aspects of TargetX as it relates to recruitment and processing application data much faster. I'm glad to have been a part of the journey today, and I hope everyone's having an awesome day. Thank you.
So great job, Jonathan, and thank you. So where does TargetX go from here? It's not just an application process, but now that we have the student information and their application and they've been accepted, this application, TargetX, allows us to take recruitment to a whole nother level. So Jonathan talked about the events pages. So let's say that we've put together some events on campus. How can we now leverage those events and start engaging the student in real time in a way that is personalized to them to make them feel like they are a part of the college? So how will the CRM help us to recruit students? Let's take an example where we have a student who has inquired as to a program at the college, let's say the business program. And so they go through a smaller example of the application process where they give us some basic information. Now we're going to take that information and use it to engage the student in an active way on campus. Here's how that works.
Let's meet Will. Today we're going to follow his journey as he moves through the enrollment funnel. It looks like Will has an email from us. As you can see, it's personalized to him with information we've collected from him in the past. We're inviting Will to our fall open house. And since we know he's interested in business, we can use conditional content and merge fields to personalize his message and invite him to the business school breakout session. Once he clicks the link to register, our mobile-first events tool will recognize that it's him and make it even easier for him to register for the open house. The events tool also allows you to include sub-events, like that business school breakout session, and allows staff to control capacity limits, utilize our automatic waitlist feature, and collect event fees. It will also pull featured events like campus tours and displays upcoming events in an intuitive calendar view. Will can even search for events in his area using his phone's location or zip code, so he can engage with other prospective students nearby, or even meet with his counselor for a coffee night. After Will attends the open house, we send him a thank you message inviting him to apply. This takes him to a personalized student portal. On this page, you can share dynamic content based on any attributes we know about a student, like a specific program they might be interested in. And as students move through the funnel, information can change to be relevant to their recruitment stage. The portal also makes it easy for students to start an application and track their progress. Once a student starts an application, they can easily see when the application is due, what percentage is done, and how much longer it's going to take to complete the application. We can also manage essays and collect other supporting documents like transcripts, all in the same system.